Welcome to the Starzology Astrology Podcast. I'm your host, Alison Price, and I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Arwynne O'Neill.
Hello, Alison. It's wonderful to be here again.
Thanks so much for joining me. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about Uranus through the houses.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about the planet Uranus when it's in different houses in your natal chart, because it will be in one of the 12 houses.
Yeah.
And we've got some ideas that we'd like to share about what this means for you in your natal chart.
For sure.
So just as an introduction to Uranus, it's an outer planet.
Yeah, it's one of the three outer planets, it and Neptune and Pluto.
Yeah. So everybody has a Uranus, for those who are listening for the first time. And it's going to be one of the houses. And some of the keywords in general for Uranus are...
disruption, innovation, rebellion.
Yes, uniqueness, awareness. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's this planet that kind of, it's the planet of change, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and sudden kind of reforming change.
Yes.
Revolution, rebellion, it was discovered in 1781, as we've talked about, and it was coinciding with all the independence movements and the War of Independence in the U.S., the revolution in France, and the Industrial Revolution, really. So it's got all of that sort of
the planet
package.
of revolution.
It's really the planet of revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also the scientific revolutions that, invention of electricity, and it was the very first planet that was discovered by the use of telescopes as opposed to just being seen with a naked eye, like Jupiter and Saturn.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know it's an interesting planet because it spins, I think, at 97 degrees angle to the vertical.
Right. I forgot about that on the ecliptic. Yeah, it's just off the ecliptic for no reason.
It's kind of weird, right?
It's doing its own thing.
Kind of a weird planet. And it is the planet that rules astrology, so that's always interesting. So I do have some ideas about astrology in these houses as well, which we'll mention when we get there.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each house in turn. Yeah. And if you have it in your natal chart, you can follow along and get some insights into what Uranus in these different houses mean.
Yeah, because as we've said and we'll link to this in the show notes, but the Uranus through the signs, it takes about 7 years to go through each sign, give or take, because of the retrograde periods. It could be it looks like 7 or 9, but it's actually 7, years in each sign.
Yeah.
And so it becomes a generational marker. But depending on, that's the signs.
Yes.
It could be in any house. Like
in
that
any
depends
house.
on, the
exactly.
time of your birth. So, yeah.
Great. Well, we'll have a look into Uranus through the houses, which is part of our basic astrology series of the houses, which is gosh, there's so much to talk about with astrology.
Right. So it's one of the transpersonal planets, but still, it's very basic because everybody has Uranus in one of their houses.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is just look at your chart and be like, oh, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start off then with Uranus in the first house. Yeah. And already I have to raise my hand to this one.
Nice. Okay, so tell us, preach. What's
well,
you're an astrologer. First of all.
Astrology, front and center. Yes, it's very much who I am. It's not the first thing that you know about me when you meet me face to face.
Well, it was technically the first thing I knew about you.
Well, it was for you, yes.
For me, yeah.
Yes. But yes, an astrologer, and not only that, always been the immigrant, always been I wouldn't say the outsider, but I don't need to fit in. I'm quite happy not fitting in, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think more people have a problem with that than I do.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so Uranus in the first house. What do we have, Arwynne?
Yeah, so some keywords are: you abhor superficiality. You need to be true to yourself. You may be disruptive or provocative, and that's okay with you. You may be quite sensitive mentally and physically, but you have a very strong connection to the environment around you. So you may be picking up on vibes. This is anything in the first house is very much about like the things you pick up in the environment. So if you have Neptune in the first house, you may be just like thinking that you're psychic and that you can hear people's thoughts or like there's a disturbance in the force when someone walks in.
That's right. There's a phrase I use. There's a disturbance in the force.
Very much about like having an outer planet in the first house. It's like, what is happening? Something just changed. And everyone kind of looks to you like, what? Tell us,
Yes.
Yeah, so you may come on strong because you are so disruptive and innovative and interesting. You're not one to follow the crowd. you're forging your own path, and you may be a leader, or you may just be like, F off, I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah. Both, yes.
Yeah, both, whichever.
It's take it or leave it, really. It's first house stuff. So, yeah, very much how it is. So people do seem to have the impression that they don't know what I'm going to do next, or I'm unpredictable. And I'm thinking, but I'm not. I'm quite. But from their point of view,
you're like, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So I'm unpredictable and the wild card. So, whatever. Yeah.
I love it.
But if we consider this placement of Uranus in the first house, I want to talk about it, how it relates to astrologers' charts, because typically I would assume that's who is listening we know it is, to our podcast. And I'm just going to read this piece. In an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the first house indicates someone who projects astrology through their self-experiences. This person is likely to set up an independent astrology practice, maybe even before they are quite ready, and they will do astrology that resonates to them.
I love it.
So this is not someone who's just going to bow down and kowtow to whatever some school says you have to do. No, it's the independent person. So if you're an astrologer and you've got this placement, that's the sort of astrology you ought to be doing. Follow your own path and do your own thing. That's what I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that. So Uranus in the second house.
Yes.
Well, I mean, this is the house of money. We've talked a bit about other placements in the second house, Saturn and Neptune and whatnot. But Uranus in the second house, your approach to money and security is forward-looking and unconventional. You may create your own business. You may invent your own business.
Yes.
And you strive for freedom, and you don't want to be owned by the things that own you, as they said in, I believe it was Fight Club. But yeah, you're breaking taboos and inhibitions when it comes to finances, when it comes to maybe other Taurus things, because Taurus is the house that rules the second house. So food, comfort, and sensuality, and your feeling of self-esteem may be unconventional in some way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is a key word for us. Uranus is break. Mm-hmm. Breakages and breakups and breakdowns and breakthroughs as well. Yeah.
Yeah, breakthroughs, disruptions.
Yes.
Breaking taboos.
So some thoughts I have about astrologers who have Uranus in the second house. In an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the second house indicates someone who can earn money through their astrology practice. Yes, because that's where you earn money. They are likely to make astrological assets, either digital or physical, and this is a great placement for income through astrology efforts.
Nice.
So when I talk about assets, I'm talking about, books, ebooks, potions, lotions, and whatnot, and anything like that would be part and parcel of their astrological practice.
Nice.
Yeah. Products, basically.
Yeah. Or astrologically themed jewelry, or
yes, cards, reading cards, calendars.
Exactly.
For those of you interested in a little more, I'm now offering online astrology seasonal sessions. So there's one session in each of the solar seasonal mid-months, which will be February, May, August and November. I'll be chatting about advanced astrology topics through a Zoom presentation. If you're interested, check out the link for my seasonal sessions in the show notes below. Now back to the episode.
Yeah.
Or anything like that. So, because not all astrologers just read charts all day.
Yes.
And that, in fact, most don't. They have, you need many strings on your bow and many income streams, if not trickles, in this astrology world. So, interesting.
Sure. Yes.
All right, so let's have a look at Uranus in the third house.
Yeah, so your communication style is one of a kind. You desire to challenge norms, and your self-expression methods will be unconventional and maybe even erratic. So your social circle may be very unusual. Your communication style may be unusual. Your learning style or your education style may be unconventional. And you could be fickle and restless when it comes to communicating. Your upbringing might have been unusual. And you may have a strange way of expressing yourself. Like you may have like weird sort of
turns of phrase, you mean?
Turns of phrase,
Yes.
or physical ways of expressing yourself that are different or odd and
Yes.
and unusual. And when we say odd, it's like a Uranian odd.
It's yeah.
You know, we're not calling it
Uranian
weird,
is
it's
our
just-
quirky side, isn't it?
it's
It's
quirky.
the hooligan within us
For
all.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that even comes to like self-expression. I mean, the first house is more, about your fashion and your presentation, but it's very much also your communication style is in the third house. So you could have a strange way of communicating who you are, and
Yeah.
that's Uranian.
So text from these people no one else can read, sort of thing.
It's just a string of emojis. You're like, what are they trying to say?
I know. You got to go to the emoji dictionary and say, what was that
What's
face?
the octopus mean? Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah.
The octopus with its like little arms up. I love that one. I don't know. I just send that one to people sometimes when I just mean like, I just love that. It just means like, what?
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway.
So some ideas I have for astrologers who have Uranus in the third house is in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the third house suggests someone who spends a lot of time learning astrology, but who then will be able to teach others astrology.
Nice.
This astrologer benefits from continuing to take short astrology classes throughout their life, and they probably have many books on the subject. It's the perpetual astrology student, basically. So, but teaching them what they know too. So if you have this as an astrologer, think about teaching classes. That's really what I would say.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I love
Yeah.
it. Or just having a TikTok channel or
Well,
or whatever, YouTube channel. Yeah, just
however you
because
want, you don't need to
that is
teach
teaching.
face to
You don't have
face.
to- exactly. You don't have to have classes.
No, not
Teaching is-
like in the old-fashioned way. No.
Teaching is teaching.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Uranus in the fourth house
Yes.
is obviously the house of the home and family. So you may have had a non-traditional upbringing and non-traditional ways of being nurtured or having unconventional parents, and your choice of ways to nurture others may be untraditional, and you could create your own family in a way that challenges authority and is a bit different, and
Yeah.
you find comfort and home and nurturing in a way that is unconventional.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Back in the day, they used to call this coming from a broken home, which
broken home.
was a phrase they used to
Yeah, I
use.
remember
But now it's more about people who kind of like live in attics and old windmills and weird kind of places.
Beautiful.
I assume tiny
Yeah,
homes would
tiny
come,
homes and
lighthouses or something.
yeah, and pimp your trailer or whatever it is. That
Yes.
thing.
Oh, van life.
Van life. That's
Oh,
one.
no. I was looking today and I thought, these Amazon vans would make perfect vans for van life because
Right.
they're high.
Totally, but there's also this connection with the father might have been super unusual and
Yes.
and distinctive, and your architecture or furnishings could be super unusual.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So if you're an astrologer and you've got Uranus in the fourth house, but some of my thoughts are, in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the fourth house indicates someone who will practice astrology in their own home.
Mm.
This person may begin their practice right at the kitchen table, and these astrologers are likely to work with family-related issues. It's really quite clear.
And there's a wide open field there. I mean,
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I mean, do people still have kitchen tables? Well, you know what I mean? But if you start at the kitchen table, that's the sort of astrology where people may be just popping in,
Yeah.
and you're going to start working with family-related issues and help those sort of people.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah. Okay.
Uranus in the fifth house.
Yeah.
So your tastes in pleasure, love, recreation, and hobbies are one of a kind, unique, innovative, rebellious. You could be a reformer when it comes to entertainment, inventing an app. For example, you believe in breaking taboos when it comes to dating, self-expression,
Yes.
drama, or your personal identity and your way of expressing yourself.
Yes.
Or you may have children who are rebellious and innovative and bizarre and
Yes.
quirky in some way. Yeah.
It's the person who's really out there, isn't it, that one?
Yeah. The risk taking and gambling is also a thing.
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so if you're an astrologer and you've got Uranus in the fifth house, These are my thoughts. So, in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 5th house inclines them towards the creative use of astrology. This person will likely make astro art and visual expressions of the craft. They will perhaps read charts in a party-like setting where they can make it a fun experience and include everyone. This astrologer is optimistic and mostly a warm-hearted astrologer.
Nice.
How fun. So again, if you want to do party astrology where you go, like Tupperware parties used to be back in the day, you would go around to someone's place, or it's somebody's wedding engagement party and you're reading charts and it's a big, you're doing going gadang, 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 and you're doing 12 charts in one go and making it a fun event. So that is likely to be the sort of astrology that you're going to be practicing.
I'm thinking of the time that I did my presentation on the ascendant, and I brought Hawaiian leis that were color-coded for all the different elements.
Right.
So I had everybody who had like a water ascendant wear like a blue or green.
Yes.
And everybody who had like an earth ascendant had like red or orange.
Right. Right.
Exactly. That would be a party
It's
idea.
the party thing. It's to make people aware of astrology through fun activities and astro drama.
Totally.
Which used to be a big thing, 10 years ago. But this is if this is your chart, this is what you need to lean into.
Totally.
It's not for everyone, but certainly if you've got Uranus in the 5th house and you're an astrologer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Uranus in the 6th house.
Oh.
So this is the natal house or the natural house of Virgo. So you are looking at health, wellness, daily routines, habits, service, daily work, your habits and
Yes.
that kind of thing. So disrupting. I mean, I'm thinking of like these tech bros who are like the fitness tech bros who are just coming up with weird ways of like, what if we just had 8 in like a 4-hour window, or like what if we invented an app that like tracked your glucose, or like if
all these things,
your keto diet where like if you eat like a piece of like cauliflower, like you're that's deadly, but if you eat like a bunch of sardines you're fine, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So some of my thoughts about if you are an astrologer and you've got Uranus in the 6th house. So Uranus in an astrologer's chart in the 6th house suggests someone who may work tirelessly at their astrology.
Yeah.
They do astrology on a daily basis and hone their craft through consistent efforts. This person is likely to write practical horoscopes and be the backbone of astrological writing.
That totally makes sense. Because there is that thing about hands-on
everyday
skills and
routines, doing the astrology, where's the moon today, this sort of thing. Totally. And it creates this background. And this is where you hone your craft, right, in the 6th house. Totally. So, and of course you could work as an astrologer if you've got Uranus in the 6th.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you look at the podcasts that are out there, like half of the astrology podcasts are like these daily things, which are like literally like 5-minute podcasts.
Yes.
I mean, and bless them. I mean, that's amazing. Like the amount of work that goes into that is crazy. But like, wow, it's definitely not my
Well, they
style.
farm it out. That's why they've got multiple astrologers.
Well, for sure. I mean, but
But I mean, that's what people are looking for, your daily
like
horoscope. Yeah. But it's again gateway astrology. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
Uranus in the 7th.
Yes.
So you are innovative and unconventional when it comes to relationships, partnerships, social conventions, and matters of equality. So
within the relationship.
Whether that's a business partnership or a romantic partnership, marriage, finding ways to seek your freedom and your independence through relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And it
is a tricky placement. It's
tricky
placement, that one. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, but I mean, as someone who has Uranus in Libra, it almost doesn't seem all that tricky to me because I just grew up with the idea that like relationships are unconventional and we're finding ways to, the modern world is not friendly to the kind of relationships that were traditional throughout history.
Yes, those days are gone.
Your dowry, your arranged marriage, your whatever, right?
Yes.
I mean, I grew up in the time of like skyrocketing divorces and love is love. Like it doesn't
love
matter
is
who
love.
you fall
Exactly.
with, right? It could be any gender and all, whatever. But yeah. So Uranus in the 7th house is a little bit, I think, similar to like Uranus in Libra, where it's just like unconventional relationships.
Yes, definitely.
And rewriting the the traditions when it comes to those things.
There you go, yeah. So my thoughts on Uranus in the 7th house, if you're an astrologer.
Yeah.
So in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 7th house is likely to be someone who works with couples astrology to help people navigate their personal relationships. Yeah. They will master composite midpoint charts and Davidson charts, and this astrology will probably work in business relationships as well. So if this is you, if you're an astrologer and you've got Uranus in the 7th, you might as well be doing relationship astrology. It's a huge chunk of astrology work.
Yeah.
So, go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Speaking as someone whose first astrology book was Linda Goodman's Love Signs.
Yes.
I can attest. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a timeless topic. Everyone wants to know.
All right, let's have a look at Uranus in the 8th house.
Yeah. So your approach to intimacy, healing, and inner transformation are unconventional. So the norms and traditions that govern inheritance, sexuality, power dynamics, and mortality are put on their head, and whatever you turn on their head.
Yes.
And this is an interesting one. Metaphysics could be a thing, religion, and the taxes, innovative ways of getting it right. I mean, other people's property, right?
Yeah.
And unusual approaches to money and the use of your scorpionic sort of skills. So investigation and research and digging into secrets.
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking like murder podcasts or, of course I am, right?
True crime.
True crime.
Who has time? Apparently, well, lots do, it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, exactly. Or like being some kind of a sex therapist or researcher in those. I mean, it's an unending topic.
There's lots there.
You'll never run out of
stuff. Yeah.
Stuff to it. Yeah.
So my thoughts, if you are an astrologer with Uranus in the 8th house, is in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 8th house suggests someone who does astrology that is both deep and meaningful. Mm-hmm. These people are drawn to be the crisis astrologers of the world, dealing with difficult topics in life such as sex, infidelity, and abuse. Bereavement astrology also comes under this placement. So other astrologers, including myself, will refer their own clients experiencing deep traumas to the 8th house Uranus astrologers of the world.
Wow.
Because when you get to these deep topics, I do offload them to another. I don't really handle these type of clients, and I like to handle them off to someone I know who's got Uranus in the 8th. So that's
awesome. Yeah. I mean, when I say that's awesome, I mean it's awesome that there are people who want to do that, because just the words bereavement astrology just like make my heart clench, and it just makes me sad to think about it. And I mean,
yes, but if you've got Uranus in the 8th, these are your clients.
You're equipped.
This is what that's how you would want to position that you deal with this. You deal with the darker side of life, and not everybody wants to deal with it, and I'm one of them. But
yeah, and it's not that I don't want to. It's just that I will cry, and then you don't want that.
Exactly.
It's not going to be helpful. I'm going to be a mess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Uranus in the 9th.
Yeah. So it's the house of philosophy, religion, beliefs, unconventional spirituality, and an optimistic, progressive, and innovative outlook towards learning, beliefs, law, and travel. Obviously.
Yes. It's a busy little house, that 9th house, isn't it?
Goodness, yeah. And publishing and broadcasting. So unconventional methods of broadcasting, and teaching and publishing and promoting yourself could be, and
how it's being expressed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So from my side, in an astrologer's chart with Uranus in the 9th house, it implies an astrologer with many interests. They're likely to be a high-level astrology teacher. The Uranus 9th house practitioner will explore all the realms of astrology throughout their life, such as the more obscure things, such as Vedic, Uranian, and evolutionary astrology. Astrologers with this placement will probably publish their findings through a blog, podcast, or by writing a book. This type of astrologer will doubtless have other New Age related topics such as numerology or palmistry skills, which they can lean into and bring into their astrology practice. So this is an astrologer who's got almost like a finger in every pie, and they're bringing a wider view to astrology as a topic itself.
That's super interesting.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on Uranus in the 9th.
I love it. So Uranus in the 10th, you're definitely going to want to be your own boss. You're not going to want to defer to others. You will be a visionary, and you'll be resourceful, and you'll be an innovator who doesn't accept the rules, laws, or structures that others have set down.
Yes.
You will resist following a script, and you will want to carve your own path and lead the charge. Follow me, as opposed to,
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And it'll be at a unique and unexpected sort of path. And whether this could be also, that you have an unusual mother, possibly, because the 10th house is the house of the mother, or you could be an unusual sort of parent, or an unusual boss, or an unusual founder of a company. And carving your own path in business is definitely a thing.
Definitely a thing for this placement, yeah. So some thoughts I have about Uranus in the 10th house if you're an astrologer. So in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 10th house is a clear indication of someone who can make a career as an astrologer. Mm-hmm. They are happy practicing their astrology in the public domain. It may even be this person's karmic responsibility to put astrology forward into the world for everyone to appreciate. These astrologers are likely to be the astrologer with names that you already know.
Nice. Yeah.
Fame through astrology.
Yeah.
Yes. That's your 10th house Uranus astrologer, I think.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So Uranus in the 11th house. This is the house of friendships and groups. So you attract unique and unconventional people to you, or you could be part of a revolutionary group. Like your interactions with friends could be spontaneous and revolutionary, and you could be a leader in some sort of humanitarian effort.
Like Greenpeace or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you may have friends from all different walks of life and all different cultures and all different types of social spheres.
Right.
And your talent is recognizing other people's special traits and uplifting them and inviting them into an unconventional group where you could forge a path that's greater than the sum of its parts.
Amazing. Yeah. So some of my thoughts about Uranus in the 11th house as an astrologer. In an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 11th house indicates an astrologer who does well in groups. For example, this person could either be interested to be the astrology book club member or someone who steers their own astrology group forward into the future. Leaders and moderators of Facebook astrology groups are indicated here. Astrologers with this placement are inclined to create their own astrological space within the larger astrological community. Yeah.
Nice.
So if you've got this placement, lean into that.
I like it.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Uranus in the 12th house. This is me.
Oh, go Arwynne.
Yeah. You may have a unique approach to your downtime, your leisure activities, your second job, or your hobbies, or your intellectual pursuits. And you may never want to have any downtime. You may just want to fill all of your downtime with intellectual pursuits or with creativity or with some sort
And you do.
I totally, completely,
Chock-a-block.
100% do this. And you do not like to follow traditions, but when it comes to your artistic or compassionate or mental or emotional health issues, this could be especially unconventional. And you definitely prize non-materialistic values. You are compassionate, and I don't want to say that you are totally when you non-materialistic,
right?
But you do have that streak. That streak of wanting to
decouple from it.
Yeah, to bring everyone in, to throw off the shackles of capitalism, or whatever. And of course we all need capitalism, but there's this ideal of what if, this kind of utopian ideal is always in the back of your mind, I think, with Uranus in the 12th house. Uh-huh. And this could be manifested in a sort of a restless spiritual sort of seeking that might not be at all religious, but there's this restless sort of seeking that has to do with like a undefined sort of spirituality, which is unconventional and individualistic, but kind of always in the back of your mind. This sort of like, what if, what if we could just ascend to the next level kind of thing?
And you feel this, right?
I feel it, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting, yeah. So my thoughts on astrologers who have Uranus in the 12th house, which I didn't know you did till we got here. So anyway, in an astrologer's chart, Uranus in the 12th house indicates someone in astrology who prefers to work behind the scenes. This person is more comfortable being part of another entity, establishment, or school which fronts for them. This type of astrologer enjoys one-to-one private astrological consultations, and Uranus in the 12th house is a placement that indicates someone with a low-key approach to astrology. This astrologer will benefit from astrology retreats, which provide time for contemplation.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so you've got to get on a retreat, Arwynne.
For sure.
Gee, you're going to set up on a retreat. In a cabin in the woods up the mountain.
Oh, no. Somewhere on the beach. Yeah, somewhere warm.
Oh, on the beach.
Yeah, I don't like the woods. There's too many bugs.
You're right. Well, that's bears, right? I hear apparently they're all over the place now.
Yikes.
Yeah,
let's go to the beach.
All right, so we've been looking at Uranus through the houses. We've been through Uranus through each of the houses. Arwynne's given some general commentary on that, and I've added some bits about astrologers who may have these Uranus places.
I love that.
Yeah, so of course that's who's listening. So anyway, so that's kind of interesting too. So if you found value in this episode, I'd like you to share it with anyone who'd be interested. Please email us at starzology@gmail.com with any of your questions, and we'll address it soon. Make sure that you're signed up for our newsletter, which you can find at starzology.com/newsletter. And make sure that you're following Arwynne, and Arwynne is at...
I am at mspink.net, and that's MSPINK, and I'm talking about art and books and movies and a little bit of astrology and sociology and history and all the things that interest me.
Super interesting stuff coming out of Arwynne stuff, not to mention the Pinktober that's just gone down.
Totally. And I just want to throw in that we are going to be recording our 150th episode soon. So if you have any questions, please share.
150, wow.
So if you have any questions, you can text them to us.
Absolutely. And visit our blog at starzology.com, where you can also pick up some freebies, and that would be on starzology.com/freebies. So we'd love to have you.
Yeah.
So, Arwynne, I want to thank you so much again for coming along and sharing your insights into Uranus and the houses.
Thank you, Alison.
And it's a pleasure as always.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you.
Thanks so much for getting this far through the episode. I just want to take a moment to tell you about the two main options of my astrology services. So the first one is coaching. If you are an aspiring astrologer, and by that I mean someone who's perhaps a hobbyist astrologer or someone who's learning astrology or a student, or you've got a few books and you've been doing it for a while, but perhaps you need a little bit of help to bring it all together, then maybe getting some astrological coaching from me would be the answer for you. The astrology coaching I offer is a 1-hour session on Zoom, and it's tailored to answer your particular questions. For example, if you have issues with natal chart readings, we can go there. Or if you're having problems working with your forecasting, we can go there. Or even basic astrology stuff, or even getting yourself organized for your astrology business. The idea is that astrological coaching will answer your particular questions. It's tailored specifically to you and where you are in your astrological journey. And I'm happy to help you out with some guidance about how you can get going, what to focus on, and what to dismiss. So that would be the astrological coaching for people trying to learn astrology. The second astrological service I offer is consultations. So this is for someone who perhaps doesn't know anything about astrology, but they just want to have their chart read or get their chart done. Call it what you will. So once more, this is a 1-hour consultation over Zoom. I will interpret your chart, tell you about the main features, tell you about where the energy is flowing, and all the rest of what is entailed in a thorough natal chart interpretation. I can also add in some forecasting in there too, bearing in mind we only have 1 hour. So just in summary, I've got coaching for people who want to learn astrology, and I've got consultations for those who want to get an astrology reading done. I'm Alison Price from Starzology.com, Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.